Ever since the Orange Man first took office 8 years ago, Hollywood saw itself as la résistance and went all in on identity politics, equity, and on executing the agenda of the most radical wing of the Democrat Party. And they did all of this both on screen as well as behind the scenes. Now, 8 years later, the end result of these and related choices are clear, and as it turned out, they weren't on the right side of history after all. On the contrary, the audience has been driven away, to the point where even what used to be the most evergreen of properties are dead or dying. The number of productions has plummeted, and those that are left are increasingly filmed outside of Hollywood proper, in other states or even other countries, in the process further contracting an industry already in a sharp decline. And the recent wildfires will, if anything, further accelerate that decline, as almost symbolically, LA continues to burn as the Orange Man returned to the Oval Office with a mandate from the people to end everything Hollywood has spent years fighting for. Now, many in the industry are asking out loud, will Hollywood be able to recover from all of these disasters, most of which are entirely of their own making? And will they bend the knee and accept the olive branch the new administration has handed to them? Let's dive in. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. As of the making of this video, parts of California are still in flames, literally as well as symbolically, while Donald Trump is officially back in office, despite the explicit efforts of the Hollywood establishment and power players.
Kamala Harris down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say, down with democracy.
With more and more productions leaving California, Hollywood is in crisis though, yet they have been offered an olive branch by the new administration, as Trump has named veteran actors Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight as his ambassadors to Hollywood. Their proposed duties are to bring business back to the US movie industry. But will Hollywood welcome this olive branch, or continue to double down on the policies and programming which, in no small part, contributed to their calamity? Like, they killed multiple revenue streams when they decided to cut the theatrical window before dumping their biggest properties straight to streaming, to say nothing of crippling their streaming platforms themselves by wokeifying their most popular content, like Marvel and Star Wars, prompting millions to cancel their streaming subscriptions and take to the high seas instead. Though obviously, neither we at Midnight's Edge nor any of our sponsors condone anyone taking to the high seas. I mean, it's wrong for one thing, and just think of all of the spyware, malware, and other assorted tracking software you'd run the additional risk of being subjected to, even beyond your normal browsing. There's a fix though. To protect yourself, you need to protect your data, and a good way of doing that is through a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark, which you can visit at surfshark.com/midnight. A VPN, or virtual private network, is a privacy protection tool which encrypts your online data and secures your personal information, even when you're on a free public Wi-Fi, which is a goldmine for anyone wanting your data. Surfshark masks your IP address so that your location, download history, and other data isn't linked to your personal ID, while their clean web feature blocks trackers, malware, and phishing attempts, enabling you to surf safely. Best of all, unlike some other VPN providers out there, Surfshark does not monitor, track, or store what you do online. There's no activity log. In addition to providing online safety, Surfshark also liberates your internet by unblocking blocked websites and enabling you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which gives some great advantages when it comes to streaming. For instance, you can access 15 different Netflix libraries, all with a different selection of movies and TV series, simply by changing your virtual location. And there are many to choose from, as Surfshark has over 3,200 servers in more than 100 countries around the world. It gets even better though. If you use our link, surfshark.com/midnight, that triggers an exclusive special offer of 4 extra months for free. So, secure your privacy with Surfshark. Just head on over to surfshark.com/midnight to order. Link is in the description. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out at surfshark.com/midnight. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. And with that, Let's shift our focus back to Hollywood's current crisis and the possible way out of it. We have ad nauseum covered how the creative decisions made to Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, Doctor Who, and most everything else has directly led to an audience exodus. But Hollywood's own policies and California bureaucracy is also driving film production out of what Gavin Newsom has dubbed the Freedom State. And now, The Hollywood Reporter is stating that the recent wildfires is speeding up the self-imposed demise. In their story, film and TV production in LA was already plummeting. Wildfires may hasten the exodus. Devastating blazes have scattered thousands of crew members, raising fears of a quickened migration of projects away from California. The piece proper begins, surfacing from the ashes of Los Angeles' raging wildfires is a plea from local entertainment industry folk gutted by the blazes. Bring production back to the region. That would appear to be Hollywood's most urgent plea. Bring film production back to LA, because the people living there need jobs to pay for new houses. And on that note, obviously, we at Midnight Sedge wish no ill toward anyone and think this fire is a travesty. We are saddened and disheartened by the loss of life, property, and history. Many families will have to start over, and no, not every actor, director, producer, etc. is rich and can afford a new home, let alone start the lengthy process of rebuilding a home in one of the most red tape-ridden locations on the planet. And for every named celebrity, there are 1,000 regular families that lost everything. But sticking to the entertainment side of things, the piece continues. One of the biggest things you can do to help our city is to shoot here, wrote prominent cinematographer and director Rachel Morrison in an Instagram post making the rounds among behind-the-scenes film and TV workers. We have some of the best crews in the world who need work now more than ever. Alas, even in Hollywood, there would appear to be some level of disagreement on exactly what is needed. Remember Daniela Pineda, the perhaps most miscast in Netflix Cowboy Bebop live-action adaptation?
Hey guys!
She who all-out attacked the fans for not instantly embracing the changes made to the source material in order to make it less problematic and more appealing towards a modern audience that doesn't exist. She who did this cringe-worthy video on all her faults, and then Cowboy Bebop was cancelled days later? Well, in the aftermath of her house burning down, she told Deadline Hollywood that the most important thing that could be done right now was to double and quadruple down on the wokeness and go all-out activist on the environment to stop global warming.
You serious?
So clearly, you still have some bitter enders out there who will never give up signaling their virtue. Others are more pragmatic though. One of the more pragmatic is the aforementioned Rachel Morrison. Let's continue with the Hollywood Reporter piece, and her argument why more film productions in LA is what the city needs right now. Morrison's message speaks to an unprecedented slump in local production. The lockdowns came first, then the strikes, and when it appeared as if filming in LA had bottomed out and would soon be on the upswing amid an escalating tit-for-tat battle among filming hotspots vying for Hollywood dollars. Wildfires fueled by hurricane-force winds battered LA. Yeah, if the wind catching fire isn't biblical, I don't know what is. But anyway, moving on. The city has seen its share of devastation in earthquakes, fires, and civil unrest, but nothing like this in recent memory. Apocalyptic flames, fortified by 100-mile-per-hour gusts, destroyed upwards of 12,000 structures built over the course of more than a century in days, ushering in a cloud of uncertainty to a gloomy production landscape yet to recover from back-to-back crises that transformed the economics of Hollywood. The transformation they're referring to, of course, is the killing of secondary revenue streams in their push for streaming, a declining audience, and an expensive California bureaucracy that incentivizes moving production out of state. That clarified, the Hollywood Reporter continues, Now, LA faces a new set of challenges brought by the historic blazes that, if left unabated, may further chip away its share of filming. Near the top of that list, the possibility that the blazes accelerate a mini-migration of the entertainment industry's workforce away from California. Here it should be mentioned that there already has been an exodus away from California for years already, an exodus of both regular people and businesses leaving the Freedom State for places like Texas and Florida, politically the polar opposites, which should be telling. But be that as it may, now the industry workforce may be the next to leave, and that of course is a problem, though it should come as no surprise if employment opportunities are on the decline. Back in July, The Wrap did a story about how production was down 40% since 2022, and half of that 40% decline was in California alone. At the time, The Wrap stated, "While LA remains the top driver of production employment, even ahead of rising competitors like New York, Atlanta, Chicago, and Albuquerque, that new competition, along with the rising costs and the toll the strikes have taken on financial reserves, has put LA's entertainment workers under new strain." So what about the other half of that 40% decline? Well, that is film production alone, and this is the part that the Hollywood Reporter article is conveniently skating over quite a bit. While the reason for the diminishing amount of productions has indeed had a lot to do with the strikes and the lockdown, that part is true. It has already been at least 4 years since the world opened up again, and even during the lockdowns, Hollywood was considered an essential business and soon open for business, though with very expensive distancing measures in place. But then there are the self-inflicted foot bullets, like relying too much on superhero and tentpole films that have excessive budgets, usually north of $200 million, expensive and pointless streaming wars, and, lest we forget, the quest for a modern audience, which resulted in more of the actual existing audience instead opting for gaming, social media, and new media. All of this are likely contributing factors to President Trump having announced his new ambassadors to Hollywood. Variety writes, Trump names Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight as special ambassadors to troubled Hollywood. They'll bring lost business back. And the article proper reads, President-elect Donald Trump, because this is before he was sworn in, is hoping to make Hollywood stronger than ever before by naming Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight as special ambassadors, whose goal will be to bring back business lost to foreign countries. Beyond this announcement, it isn't fully clear what exact role these men will play in their ambassadorship, and it's fair to point out that Trump's announcement was considered a surprise even to them. In fact, Mel Gibson has revealed that he had only found out about his ambassadorship through social media, but at the same time, he is more than willing to answer the call. Sylvester Stallone has been spending a lot of time with Trump recently, and Voight is a well-known supporter as well. But for anybody thinking that Trump wasn't serious about this, he actually doubled down on the appointment of Stallone, Voight, and Gibson on January 19th at his pre-inauguration rally, announcing that moving forward, President Trump expects people to address his picks as Mr. Ambassador, and this is something that has also now been reported in the New York Post. Trump says people must refer to Sylvester Stallone, Jon Voight, and Mel Gibson as Mr. Ambassador. But the big question is, will these guys really be able to convince productions to not only stay in the US, but perhaps move back to California? And more than that, will anyone in Hollywood actually listen to them, let alone refer to them as Mr. Ambassador? To me, that seems like something of a humiliation ritual, only done towards those doing the addressing, so they will certainly feel that way. And let's be honest, while Stallone and Voight are widely respected, Gibson was on the outs for years and is still regarded as a kook by many, so the activist in Hollywood will be reluctant to defer to them, and that is putting it mildly. Case in point, Variety wrote, Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight were mocked and eye-rolled by showbiz insiders when Trump announced this month that they would serve as his envoys to the entertainment industry. However, That quote comes from an article titled, "Hollywood is now ready to work with Trump. You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us." And there were some other major revelations in this article. This article also reads, "Members of the industry's most left-wing contingent, the unions, are privately expressing hope that the president's planned tariffs on imports may cover runaway production, thus creating a greater incentive to film in hard-hit hubs like Los Angeles and Atlanta." One prolific indie film producer says he doesn't care for Trump's politics, but admits it is refreshing to hear the office of the president focus on how we can get the movie business back on track, and back in Los Angeles. The producer made a film released last year chronicling historic events in LA. "We had to shoot the whole thing in Bulgaria because it cost half as much. I had to sleep in a stinky hotel and not the house I worked my entire life to buy," he says. "You didn't hear Biden talking about how to help us." To numerous power players Variety spoke with, just as staggering as the town's silence over the encroaching Trump effect is the procession of media moguls, from Amazon executive chairman Bezos to Disney CEO Bob Iger, making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago or donating to Trump's inaugural fund. Wait, what? Let's read that bit again. Disney CEO Bob Iger, making the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago or donating to Trump's inaugural fund. So Iger did one of those. That's the first I ever heard of that, and that is monumental, for he is a Democrat apparatchik. However much he may have tried to blame Bob Chapek for Disney going too woke, and him now acting all based in interviews, claiming entertainment had to come before messaging, he is widely known to have been the true driving force behind Disney's wokeness. So whichever he did, he kissed the ring, and that he did really does suggest that many more in the Hollywood establishment indeed will bend the knee. Not out of any kind of genuine conviction, mind you, but out of necessity, because Hollywood has ran itself into the ground. Now, the desperation is so great that even Trump's formerly biggest detractors are bending the knee. Earlier this summer, Deadline Hollywood wrote an editorial arguing that after the election, the staunchly Democrat industry needed a political reboot. I believe that is what we're seeing here. But is the submission real, or will Hollywood revert to its woke ways as soon as it can afford to? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And before you go, remember to secure your privacy with Surfshark VPN. Use our link, surfshark.com/midnight, to get an exclusive special offer of 4 extra months for free. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out, at surfshark.com/midnight. Link is in the description.